Well, it's a magnificent day here in Arkansas. There's a touch of fall in the air. It's really a crisp morning, and I love this time of year. I love the next 9 months. Fantastic. I'm here to answer another edition of Ask Dennis Anything. Thanks for tuning in and watching. This one comes from Brian. And it's a lengthy question. I'll kind of give you the cliff notes on this, or the Twitter version. That's more relevant, isn't it? But Brian asked me, he said, first of all, thank you for creating Stepping Up. I've been through that. Sounds like he's led some men through that. Thank you, Brian, for doing that. But he goes on to say his pastor has been posting his opinions on social media, and when he's been approached by church members, he's kind of condescending, he is condescending, doesn't receive the correction. Others are expressing concern about what he's posting on social media. Sounds like the leadership of the church pulled him aside, disciplined the pastor, and for a week, the pastor didn't do anything. He didn't post any more controversial statements on social media. But then he started up again. So Brian's asking, what should I do? It's a great church. I've been looking for a great church and thought I'd found it. Well, Brian, I would encourage you to take a look at Matthew 18, 15 through 17. These are Jesus' words here. Jesus said, if your brother sins against you, tell him his fault between you and him alone. Sounds like you've done that, Brian. If he listens to you, you've gained your brother. But if he does not listen, take one or two others along with you, that every charge may be established by the evidence of 2 or 3 witnesses. If he refuses to listen to them, tell it to the church. And if he refuses to listen even to the church, let him be to you as a Gentile or a tax collector. In other words, be done with him. So here's what I want to encourage you with, Brian. You've done a good job in doing what Jesus said we ought to do when we've got a conflict. Go in private. You don't make a big deal. You don't talk to others. You go in private. Then secondly, you take somebody else with you. It sounds like that's happened with the elders or the leadership of the church as you ask your question and confirm the facts. And it sounds like this pastor is kind of off the rails on this subject. Then third, you tell it to the church, and it sounds like the deacons have put him under discipline. They've told the church they're doing that, and he's still doing it. And so my advice, Brian, is leave the church, and don't make a big deal out of it. Don't talk to others about it. Just you and your family, just quietly go find another church. A good church is really, really important, and you don't need to be sitting in the pew listening to someone preach that you don't respect and you don't trust. It's interesting, Brian, your question is the second question like this around the same issue that you brought up that I've been asked in the past month, of pastors using social media to grind an axe over something that is questionable. So Brian, I appreciate your courage in going to your pastor. I'm sorry he has a condescending attitude, but I'd suggest you just move on and ask God to guide you and find another church where you can make your home there. Keep on using our resources here at therainey's.org, and we'll see you next week.